What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Want to give you guys some Al Haymon PBC updates. A lot of people just asking, kind of wondering what's going on with certain fights, and I'm going to elaborate and break it down to my knowledge in this particular video. For starters, Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter. This was a fight that was allegedly going to take place in December. It's not going to take place this particular year, and the reason being, from what I understand, is that Pritchard Colon, he's in the hospital, obviously, after his fight with Williams. He suffered some brain injuries and swelling, and he's in a coma. So make sure you keep him in your thoughts and your prayers, and just fully support his situation. Hopefully he can make 100% speedy recovery with no, like, permanent, like, mental scarring or anything like that. You know what I mean? Just about the memory. So definitely shout out to Pritchard Colon and his estate and his family during this trying time. But that whole situation, the medical bills are through the roof. Obviously, as you can imagine, if somebody's in a coma, life support, I mean, hospital, I don't know if you guys, I had a friend that I used to work with, and I was full-time at that job, and he wasn't, so he didn't have any kind of medical benefits, and he got mad at his girlfriend or something, and he, like, punched his window or glass or something and cut his hand up, so he needed stitches. And he was just telling me how he had to go because it was just like his hand was leaking because he did some dumb stuff and cut his fingers up or whatever, punching glass, and it was all swollen, possibly fractured. So he was just telling me about his hospital bills, and it was through the roof. Like a ER visit was like $1,500 to $2,500 just for the visit. Then each stitch is $50 a stitch. You know what I mean? Whatever it was, I don't remember the exact figures, but I know it was crazy. So you can imagine if someone's in a life-altering, life-threatening situation like a coma, the medical bills are through the roof. So from what I understand, PBC is trying to provide aid and stuff for the family during that point, and they don't have the budget for Keith Thurman, Sean Porter at the moment. You know what I'm saying? And HBO's in the same boat, and I'll talk about that too. Like everybody's budget was tight regardless for the fourth quarter, fourth quarter in boxing, based on everything that's already transpired, all the fights that have already happened. So, again, shout out to Pritchard Colon. But Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, it looks like it'll go on 2016. I believe both fighters are doing, like, probably light training, kind of staying in conditioning, somewhat shape, you know what I mean, not dropping the ball completely because they know they're going to be fighting in 2016. So, I think it's quiet as kept. I think it's pretty much official on the behalf of the fighters. Like, they know they're going to be fighting. It just hasn't been fully announced based on that situation. So that's one thing. Another thing, Al Haymon takeover has spread. Al Haymon is now coming in 2016. He will be coming, and it's funny, I haven't heard anybody talk about this. And it's funny because you notice, like, if the haters, they always whisper your successes and broadcast your failures. Even with me, like, I'll do 10 predictions. I'll get 8 of those predictions dead on, right? Even the predictions I get wrong, a lot of what I said will still unfold. But let's say I get 2 wrong and 8 right. Those 8 prediction post-fight videos, I was dead on, and I won't have any comments saying like, oh, good job or anything. I don't need a pat on the back. I'm just saying the haters, they won't say anything about all those 8 predictions. But let me get 1 or 2 predictions wrong, then they're like, aha, Ego, you don't know shit about boxing. You got your prediction wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it always happens like that. Same thing with the whole PBC structure. At first, they said this will never work. What? Boxing on prime time? No ring card girls? Commercials? We like Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman's commentary and this and that. It's not going to work. The ring entrances are garbage. Well, nobody's really tripping off the ring card girls. I haven't heard anybody. I don't even really notice when I'm watching the fights. You know what I mean? On the good fights that I've seen on PBC. That's one thing. The ring entrances, they've changed it so it's not the contender style, biggest loser style walkouts. That's different. Little bit less customary, but they've made some changes with that. And PBC continues to grow. And they continue to put on fights. Sometimes, I think it was the week Devin Alexander fought Aaron Martinez. There were so many fights that week on PBC. I watched Devin Alexander versus Aaron Martinez. The day before, I think Gerald Washington, Amir Mansour, which was a good fight. Later in the week, in the afternoon, I watched Lamont Peterson, Felix Diaz, which was a good fight. And hey, Al Heyman's doing his thing. You guys can get mad. Some people said it wouldn't work and it's impossible that this will be successful. And after the Keith Thurman, Robert Guerrero did crazy numbers, they were like, oh, PBC, their viewership is dropping. But they don't tell you that Timothy Bradley versus Brandon Rios did under 1 million in terms of its broadcast. And that's peak. So it's a lot to explain, but the way TV ratings work is usually what you see in the broadcast are the peak viewership. Like they're going to show you the best. At its max, it did 1.4 million homes, or you know what I'm saying, whatever. They don't really tell you because it's a duration. A boxing fight, you know what I mean, the whole card might be an hour or two. So there's lulls where the undercard doesn't have as much viewership. So the main event does, and it skyrockets, and then that's what they tell you. So I don't want to get too technical on viewership and cable watchings and stuff, but at its peak, it did under 1 million for Bradley Rios. Not to mention they had open seats in that particular fight, so I don't think it sold out. And I thought that was a good fight. I thought people were looking forward to Bradley versus Rios. I thought, you know what I mean? I thought it was like a good 60-40, 50-50 fight that people were looking forward to. So obviously the Haymon effect is affecting some of the competitors, and they're being forced. And this is the thing. Al Haymon's stable is so vast that it forces people to either lose to the competition or make the best matches. Like Oscar De La Hoya, he had to put on a good fight, you know what I mean? Like, and he put his one of his stars up there, David Lemieux versus Triple G, and then he got embarrassed and beat down for whatever, 9 or 10 rounds, whatever it was. I don't remember when it ended, but he got dominated by Triple G. Now he has to rebuild that fighter. So, I mean, it's tough. Versus Al Haymon, he could put on Deontay Wilder versus Johann Duhaupas, solid fight. You could put on a lesser fighter, Eric Molina, someone the casual fans probably don't know. And then when he's ready, he can make a more massive fight, like Deontay Wilder and Alexander Povetkin, right? Or work with Eddie Hearn and do like Anthony Joshua. So that's the danger with the competitors and the competition with Al Haymon, because at the end of the day, his stable is so vast that he can drop the bomb at any moment. Because if his ratings are dropping, oh shit, Sean Porter versus Keith Thurman, great fight, no complaints. One's undefeated, one's once beaten. So that's the thing. Sean Porter fought Eric Bone, last minute replacement. That wasn't a fight I was like thrilled to see, but it is what it is. I watched it. Then after he fought Broner at a catchweight, beat up on him. And now if Sean Porter fights Keith Thurman next, I mean, I have no complaints. That's a tough schedule. And that's the realism of the whole situation. People are, oh no, this is weak. Deontay Wilder fought 3 times this year. Once he was a challenger and he beat a respected champion who has a chin, who has power, athleticism, a level of slickness, and that was Bermane Stiverne. So if he wants to feel good, build him up hometown fights against Eric Molina, who at least had some power, and then Johann Duhaupas, who most people didn't know, it's not the end of the world, because he fought as a challenger and defeated a champion. That's the thing people don't understand. So with Al Haymon coming to Fox, not Fox Sports 1, Fox, that is big. That's the same network that hosts, like, I don't know, I think they do the Super Bowl possibly, but they have like Empire and The Simpsons, all types of stuff like that. That's big. So he has dates blocked out for that. Then again, with Al Haymon, he can drop the bomb, at any point that he wants to. Carl Frampton, a fighter, has a pact with him. Scott Quigg is happening. You know what I mean? These are good fights. So Al Haymon's doing his thing, and he's making sure that he's doing the global takeover. The thing that I do like about the Haymon structure is we're constantly seeing boxing. And there's, like, let's say 2 people. Edeslandi Lara, I haven't been happy with his schedule because I think he's more proven to be fighting Delvin Rodriguez, and now he's fighting Jan Zibic. That's a guy Berto stopped and a guy Keith Thurman beat up on. So I really don't have any interest in seeing that. But once again, he can make at any given moment Edeslandi Lara versus Julian Williams, which is a good fight at 154, or whoever the person is. You know what I'm saying? So that's the beauty of what what Al Heyman has in that big stable. Earl Spence, I'm not happy with his. I mean, they're trying to build him up or whatever, but I think he's ready for a bigger name. So at any given moment, they can put him in there with Josecito Lopez, Andre Berto, Keith Thurman, whoever they decide. You know what I'm saying? And that's the glory and the benefit of having a big stable. But coming to Fox, which is a national, I mean, we all know what Fox is as a network. That's a big network. You know what I'm saying? So Al Heyman is just constantly expanding. And the other thing that I do like that he is doing is he's diversifying. And by that, I mean, he's not just signing African American fighters or Hispanic fighters, but he does have both. He has Chris Arreola, Josecito Lopez, etc. But he also has black fighters, Floyd Mayweather and Keith Thurman, Earl Spence, Sean Porter, and he has Cubans, Edislandi Lara. You know what I mean? So he has a very diverse stable, and he's even crossing over to areas like Artur Beterbiev, who his second home is Canada, and he's of Russian descent, I believe. So that market, you have a guy like Carl Frampton, and he's working to try to build these guys up. That's an Irish fighter. So someone from the UK. This is big, you know what I'm saying? And I don't recall last time anyone's done that. Like, you look at Golden Boy, you look at Top Rank. Who does Top Rank or Golden Boy have off the top of your head that is a fighter who represents Canada? You know what I'm saying? Because most of the big Canadian fighters, like, let's say a Jean Pascal, he's with like a Canadian promotion. You know what I'm saying? Or what Top Rank Golden Boy fighters do they have from the UK? You know what I mean? Because a lot of the UK fighters are probably with UK promoters, like Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Promotions, Anthony Joshua, Kell Brook. You know what I mean? Guys like that. So the fact that Al Heyman is working these deals and packs with the Artur Beterbievs, the Carl Framptons, guys from other regions. He's helping them become crossover successes. It's already apparent Carl Frampton can pack the house in Belfast or Ireland or wherever. You know what I mean? He's already done that. You can go look at his old tapes and look at the crowd behind him. So fighting in Texas, that's new for Carl Frampton. That's what he did in his last fight, I believe. So props to Al Heyman. I'm interested in what 2016 holds. They're coming to Fox. We should get Porter versus Thurman. God forbid some kind of injury or last minute pullouts or anything happen. That should be coming. And I'm just looking forward to some good matches. And the thing that I never understood with boxing, again, is you have a lot of people who aren't going to, the people they don't like. You go to my channel, I've said good, bad, neutral things about probably everybody. And the thing is, the people who have it embedded in their mind that PBC is a shit product, they're going to constantly point out the obvious failures or, a drop in viewership or whatever. But they're not going to tell you, like I said, that Bradley Rios did under 1 million. You know what I mean? And Bradley's a guy who's been on pay-per-view before. Brandon Rios, they were booing Bradley and cheering for Brandon Rios. And I thought, he's been on pay-per-view too versus Pacquiao, both of them. So I thought that would do better numbers than that, because you got guys that are breaking the mold of 1 million and higher views on PBC that aren't as big, like Lamont Peterson versus Felix Diaz. I personally hadn't even seen Felix Diaz fight. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that peaked at over 1 million. So I don't know, good stuff with the PBC. And you have to find a way. If you're a boxing fan, you should just be appreciating that you're getting a shitload of fights. There's a lot of tribalism, a lot of people picking sides, but I just care about the growth of the sport and what's good for the sport. And I like the vision that Al Heyman, a lot of people said it wouldn't work, but I mean, it seems to be working, because I'm constantly getting to see boxing and not have to worry about another, like, paying for it or whatever. Oh, and just for clarification, I don't know if I said, I believe, and this could change, I believe the Porter Thurman is going to be on regular Showtime and not PBC. So I don't know if I made that clear. So some of these would be PBC fights, but he also has to siphon some of those fights over to Showtime. Drop it in the comment section. Let me know what you think of Premier Boxing Champions Al Heyman. What do you think it's doing to the competitors? Are they frustrated? To me, I think you have to admit that they're at least frustrated. I think it's evident by the lawsuits. That's one thing. And that's another thing. Top Rank had to rewrite their lawsuit because the judge already dropped some of the claims and claimants off of Top Ranks. Like, I think Waddell and Reed, Haymon's investors, got dropped off of the lawsuit. So they had to revamp their argument, basically. That's what, in layman's terms, that's what that means. The judge dropped some aspects of Top Rank's lawsuit. It's already been dismissed. Like, nope, well, I'm not going to hear that. So rewrite this. Like, they had to repropose their argument, if that makes sense. So Al Haymon kind of drew first blood and won the first part of the legal battle. That's one thing. That the lawsuits, anytime you get sued, somebody's hurting. You know what I'm saying? Somebody wants to collect for something. Because if you didn't care, like, it's just like, it's like, let's say another YouTube channel mentioning me. Like, if you didn't care what I was doing, then you probably wouldn't have to mention me. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Haymon. If you didn't give a shit and Haymon wasn't hurting your business, then you probably wouldn't have to sue him. You probably wouldn't want to collect anything. You would just be like, oh, we're putting on the best shows. Fuck them. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. The other thing, this is a major thing that I noticed, the constant jabs from the competitors. Even HBO. Like, listen to HBO commentary. Anytime they talk about Haymon fighters, basically, it's usually in a negative light. Like, oh, Floyd Mayweather, he's on the anti-Gotti list, or this and that, and this person can't sell, and blah, blah, blah. And you hear it with Top Rank and Golden Boy. Like, Oscar's constantly, he putting cherries under Danny Garcia's picture. Just petty stuff, you know what I'm saying? Versus, I watched PBC, and to my surprise, during their commentary, they talked about, I don't remember who it was, but it was someone who was not affiliated with PBC, like a Pacquiao. And they weren't slandering Pacquiao. They were saying good things about him, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And you watch HBO, and when they're talking about the competitors, it's a bash session. It's all bad. But they praise their product. You know what I mean? They'll say Deontay Wilder needs to step up in competition, but they won't say the Vasyl Lomachenko or Golovkin needs to. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Let me know what you think of PBC. Those are the updates. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.